Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Lizzie, and for today's video I'll be sharing with you my fall DIY decor. For this video I used items from the Dollar Tree, items I found at the thrift store, and items I had around my house. For project number 1, I'll be using these pretty cloth pumpkins that I found at the thrift store, and they were in a bag full of small pumpkins. For this project I only ended up using 2 of them, the yellow one and the orange one. At Dollar Tree, I found all these really pretty artificial flowers, leaves, and greenery. I'm not really sure what you call each one, but they were really pretty. Also at Dollar Tree, I found this really pretty seasonal ribbon, and I grabbed one of their foam blocks. At Walmart, I found this metallic gold spray paint. It's fast drying, and it really worked great for this project. Lastly is this plastic pumpkin pail I found at the thrift store for 99 cents. Now the first thing I did for this project was spray paint the pumpkin gold. I laid down one of Dollar Tree shower curtains before I spray painted. I bought this one a while ago and I reused it multiple times, and I usually lay something heavy at each corner so the wind doesn't blow the shower curtain on the thing I just spray painted. Anywho, I love how the color came out on this pumpkin. Just so you know, I didn't do anything to the jack-o'-lantern face because I kind of like it, and I'm just going to make this the back side for this project. And when Halloween comes around, I can make it the front side. Okay, in order to raise my foam block, I had to stuff some newspaper in first. Well, I guess it's technically not newspaper, it's the ads that the grocery stores send in the mail, but that's beside the point. So I put the block in, and I didn't glue it because I wanted to be able to work with it and move it around if I needed to. I was putting in a lot of florals, so it wasn't going to tip over or anything, so I figured it's okay to not glue it. Now, if I was only putting a small amount, then I would have glued the block because it's so light, it would have tipped over, but it didn't for this one. If you're new to my channel, hello there. I would love it if you stuck around by subscribing. I do have Halloween D.I.Ys coming up real soon. I want to get those out before October hits, and I would love it if you stuck around for that. Man, oh man, was that difficult for me to stab into the foam block. Those things are a lot harder than I thought. I struggled just a little, but eventually I got all my artificial thingamajigs in. When it came to those pumpkins I got at the thrift store, first I had to fight Baby Hulk, but once that was done, I just stabbed a skew into them, only halfway through it, not all the way, just half, and I did not use glue because A, I didn't know if glue would work on this type of fabric, and B, I didn't want it to be permanent. The pumpkin will move around a lot until it's placed in the bouquet, and then it's fine. The last step was hot gluing the ribbon on, and voila! I think this came out so beautiful. It's so beautiful in person, and I love looking at it, and I really love how it looks in different lighting too. Like in the kitchen at night, when I have the kitchen light on, it looks really pretty. Maybe I'm obsessed with gold now, I don't know, but this looks really beautiful to me, and it does bring me joy to just look at. DIY number 2. I'm using 3 pumpkins that also came in the bag I thrifted. This artificial grass that I've had for about 4 years originally is from IKEA. This small tin can that I got last year from the Dollar Tree. And this ribbon that I recently purchased at the Dollar Tree. And lastly, I'll be using gold paint and sage green paint that I got from Walmart. So first I wanted to paint the small pumpkin a different color to go with the other 2 pumpkins that I'm leaving as is. I'm going to completely cover it with sage green paint except for the stem part because I'll be painting that part gold. And I also noticed that the green goes really well with the black. I think that's a color scheme I might use in the future. Once it dried, I gave it a second coat of paint because there was still white showing. Now I'm using the gold paint, and I'm going to paint the stem and also the creases. I used my finger to help me smear it more in the crease part, and I did paint some of the top part of the pumpkin as well. I didn't show it here, but I did go back with the green to fix some edges that I didn't want gold, because I kind of went a little crazy with the gold. Maybe gold is just, like I said, my thing right now, but yeah, anywho, that's what I did for this. Next up, the tin can. I took the rope off, and I'll be keeping the rope because I'll be using some of it for this project and saving the rest for future projects because it's a lot of rope. I noticed how much little hairs this rope leaves behind, and I did wash this, but I couldn't get it all off. It doesn't matter though, because I'll be covering this part with ribbon anyways, but I just wanted to show you how much it leaves behind. I'm just going to hot glue and wrap the ribbon around. I put hot glue in the back and a little in the front, and I also hot glued some of the rope back on. And I'm using Gorilla Hot Glue for this project. I did put hot glue at the top once I was done wrapping, just to give it a casing, because I really didn't know how well it would hold up, how well the rope would hold up. This is the part when I hot glued it in the front, and I just put that hot glue towards the edging of the top, and I carefully tried to put the ribbon back on to where I wanted it. I wanted to give it more elements, so I wrapped another layer of rope on. I was going to tie it in the front, but that wasn't working out for me, so I hot glued it in the front, and I added a little bow and placed that on. So I made a little bow with the rope, and then I placed that on. It was now time to assemble everything, and I first put some paper in the tin so it will raise my grass a little higher. I did hot glue it at the bottom just because it was kind of wobbly, and I figured hot glue would make it not so wobbly. What I had to do next was take some of the grass out in order to fit my pumpkin in the center. They come out pretty easy, and the ones that I took out I did put back in, but I just put them alongside the edges. To put the pumpkins together, I had to use skews. They go in pretty easy. I just had to cut them down a little bit, but I was cutting them like a crazy lady, and I gave myself a splinter doing that, so please don't do that. Don't cut them like a crazy lady like me. Be safer. I still felt like this was missing a little something, so I added 2 leaves, and they come from this pack of leaves that are from the Dollar Tree, and these are seasonal. It's quite possible they're all gone now. I don't know. They're pretty, so look out for them next year if they're not at your store anymore. I tried to create something different, and I really love how it came out. It's different, it's unique, and I love it. I hope you love it too, or at least like it, or at least think it's interesting, or maybe, I don't know. DIY number 3 involves the most run-down looking pumpkin in the bag. I'm going to give it new life by using white paint and baking soda. If you haven't seen this technique before, what happens is the baking soda gives the paint a different texture. The amount of baking soda I put in depends on how thick I want the paint to be. So right now it's too thick, so I have to add more paint. You really just want to pour in a little at a time. So I'm just mixing it. I didn't add any more paint to it. I had enough paint and I'm just mixing it. So I'm not an expert at doing this. I don't know who is. It's just something that you wing, I guess. Now I'm going to paint the pumpkin all over with this. My vision was to make this pumpkin look like an old stone, like a statue you would find in a large garden owned by rich people in the late 1700s in London, and it's fall and leaves are falling on it. Decades have gone by and it's just sitting there. Yes, that's the specific vibe I'm going for. I'm going for the late 1700s. Anywho, since I have a gold theme going on, I decided to paint the stem with the gold paint. I mixed it with the white paint, and around that time I decided to use that color and paint sections of the pumpkin. So I did add in more gold paint, and it's just the solid gold paint, and I put that on the stem part. I reused a little bit of that rope from the tin can. I hot glued that on, and when I did cut it, I did hot glue it, and I had to hold it down for a little while just because it wanted to pop right off. But I had to hold it down until the hot glue dried a little bit. Then I hot glued 3 leaves on that were from that pack of leaves that were from the Dollar Tree. Last thing I did was place it on one of Dollar Tree's candle holders, and that was it. Compared to how it looked before, I think it's a total upgrade. I hope you like it too. DIY number 4 is the last one for this video, and it was the fastest to make. I grabbed 1 pumpkin from the Dollar Tree and a bag of stems. This was the first time I found a bag of stems at the Dollar Tree. I don't live near a forest, so I was excited to find this there and a little sad that I don't live near a forest. I also used some leaves again. And this orange fabric from the Dollar Tree that the camera does not like, it just wants to blur out the little details on the fabric. I don't know why. Lastly, I grabbed this 4x6 picture frame from the Dollar Tree. The first thing I did was take the stand off. I didn't throw it away though because I'm going to see if it works for another idea of mine that I'm going to be doing for Halloween. Now I'm going to take everything apart. I'm going to take the backing and the fabric, and I'm going to measure and cut the fabric so it'll fit with the backing. I made sure though that there was enough fabric to be able to hot glue in the back. Next I placed the glass back in and then the backing. There was some loose fabric still, so I had to add some more hot glue. Sometimes if the hot glue is too hot for me to touch, I like to keep an old paintbrush on hand and use the end of it to be my little helper. For the pumpkin, I'm going to take the stem off and save it for later because I'm going to use it for Halloween. I didn't show it on camera, but I did use a knife to cut this in half. One half I'm using for this project and the other half I'm saving for Halloween. Now I'm going to hot glue this and I'm going to use E6000 because I want this to stick on fast, hence the hot glue. But I also want this to stay on strong because it's going on glass, so hence the E6000. Next I'm using one of the stems and I did the same thing. I used hot glue and E6000. Last thing I did was pick the leaves I wanted to use and figure out where I wanted to place them. When I finally figured that out, I just hot glued them on. I didn't think I needed to use E6000 because they're so lightweight, so I figured it would be fine just to use hot glue. That was it. Even though I love how this came out, I think I might come back to it and paint the frame a rustic brown color, give it that cabin in the woods kind of vibe. I think that would be pretty too. I hope you found some inspiration in this video. I really do try to think outside the box, so hopefully it sparked a new idea for you. I do recommend looking at thrift stores before buying something new because you never know, you might find exactly what you're looking for. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or rest of your night. Bye!